cabinet secretary, sir. Do you think this will not withstand judicial scrutiny if it comes to that?
I do not want to comment on that. There is a possibility it may withstand, it may not withstand. And don't forget that for party selection, so much money is being spent by government for the welfare of parties, for security, police security, so many other things. It is not only the building being given, etc., etc. The entire election process, the whole system stops, and therefore government spends inordinate amount of money. But surely they are not public authorities in that sense. Yes. But the whole point is, if everybody is agreed the principle is correct, what is wrong in giving the information? Absolutely. Why should you withhold it?
Absolutely.
Why should you say that legally the order is not justified? Why should you not? If everybody is agreed, let them voluntarily say, we will now disclose all the information to everybody. I think we need to clean up elections. The greatest problem of the country is that, and like the Lokpal was killed, this will also be killed by the political parties.
Right, Venkat, very quickly, then I'll go to Mr. Mittal.
We have an example from our own neighborhood. The Right to Information Act of Nepal clearly and unequivocally covers political parties. If they can do it, why can't we do it?
Mr. Mittal, if Nepal, a country like Nepal can do it, why can't we do it? And Mr. Subramaniam has a point. If everybody is convinced and they reach a consensus, what is the harm in increasing transparency that the people of the country really know what's happening within, inside their political parties, who's making decisions, what decisions are being made, how much money is being spent? What is wrong with the idea?
There's nothing wrong at all in transparency. So let's not put this debate on a wrong track. I'm not even debating
the wrong track. It's all about transparency.
Issue is the misuse and the abuse. And allow me. Look, first, any act which is passed must be interpreted in terms of its legislative intent. That's a fundamental law.
Yes.
Was the legislative intent to interpret the law in this way, the way it is being done? No. Secondly, I do a research on the demography of a particular constituency and find out this is the demographic makeup of this constituency. It is prized information, it is prized research. Why should I share it with somebody? I make a strategy which makes me win an election. Why should I share my strategy with anybody? I mean, am I going to empower my opponents to attack me in an election? I lose an election, I do an analysis and say, these are my weaknesses. You want me to share those? Look, let's not extend things to absurd extent. What is happening is you pick up one small justification, blow it out of context and implement it. It's a typical knee-jerk reaction to anything and everything we are doing in this country.
Okay,
Look,
Mr. Mittal.
Nobody is evaluating
Mr. Mittal, how about this?
Ramification.
Sir.
What are the effects? And lastly, as I said, if anybody who gets money, who gets land out of allotment, if they become public authority, is a media house a public authority? Is a school a public authority? Is a hospital a public authority? Is a factory which is being given a concessional land in a industrial township, do they become a public authority?
Okay.
Or tax write-offs. Industries that get tax write-offs.
Mr. Mittal, Tehseen, one second. Venkatesh.
In fact, I would have Mr. Mittal know that high courts have adjudicated on this very issue and brought in purely private sector organizations within the ambit of the Right to Information Act, and one of those judgments is quoted extensively, that is the Indian Olympic Association versus Viresh Malik case. And there, in fact, exactly what he is saying is being judicially recognized.
It's judicially recognized. Listen to Venkat, Mr. Mittal.
If you get tax concessions, if you get indirect funding from government, as a private sector agency, you have to be covered by the Right to Information Act, and let alone other entities. There is a small school called Sanskriti School, which is actually run for the purpose of educating the children of officers of the IAS and IPS and IFS, and the Delhi High Court ruled that they are getting land, they are getting support from government, and therefore they are a public
Mr. Subramaniam, before I come to Tehseen and Mr. Mittal, Mr. Subramaniam, I want to ask you this really. In an age where information, the hunger for information is growing, the Prime Minister of the country, whose party it was that finally implemented the RTI, some activists would say, and this is not my opinion, this is the opinion of some activists who have worked really hard on the RTI, including from the ADR and other organizations. They allege that he struck at the heart of the RTI Act when he addressed vigilance organizations and officials from all over the country. And I'm going to quote the Prime Minister right now. He said there are concerns about frivolous and vexatious use of the Act in demanding information, the disclosure of which cannot possibly serve any public purpose. Now, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Dr. Manmohan Singh has said this. Would you agree with him?
No, certainly not. In fact, I brought as cabinet secretary the first draft act to the cabinet, got it passed there with Shuri at that time, and then brought it to parliament in 1997, the first one, number one. Number two, unfortunately, our parties in power cling to the least technicalities to ensure that their hands are not shown. Why should they not be transparent? Are not the accounts in the US of the various US political parties open or not? Are not the accounts in UK open or not? Why should the Indian, and if the parties have so much power in policy making?
I'm sorry,
don't make
Mr.
a
Subramanian.
misstatement.
Okay.
You have been a
Government's
former
already
cabinet
open.
secretary. You are not expected to make a misstatement.
But
Absolutely.
that's no, sir. The point he's trying to make is that it's open to the election commission, and if we want to petition it, we can get it from the
Absolutely,
election
you get it from the election commission. Please file your RTI with the election commission, Mr. Subramanian.
I think,
when
gentlemen,
it comes to transparency, that's where you need.
There is a lot more happening in the capital. I'm going to switch focus very quickly to the food security bill, and I want to ask Mr. Mittal also, because there are things happening in the capital. The June heat is getting to the polity of the country as well. The food security bill and the politics over it. I want to go very quickly across to Mr. Sudhanshu Mittal. Sir, the government is mulling whether or not to actually take the ordinance route and get the food security bill passed. You had asked for a special session of parliament. It looks like the government is not going to go that way. Very quickly, sir, your reaction to it, and currently, do you think politics over food should continue to go the way it is? Because like someone from your party really said, 4 years, it's been 4 years, people have been starving, and people continue to starve. Do you think politics over food is the right way to go?
See, Sushma Swaraj has already made it clear that the ordinance route is not the right route to bring in such a legislation. And she has even suggested that if the government was willing to have a special session, the BJP is willing to go in for that. Having said so, there are two propositions which should be examined: the intent and the methodology. As far as the philosophy of food security is concerned, there cannot be a debate. In this nation, every citizen of this country must be fed food. Nobody should be hungry. There cannot be a debate on that.
Okay.
The issue is the methodology and the intent behind it. You see, our proposition is that have we done the requisite homework to implement it? That's all. BJP is only saying Chhattisgarh has a Food Security Act. Kindly follow that act, because it's a time-tested act.
So, sir, you're opposed to the ordinance route then? You're opposed to the ordinance route, right?
Has certain lacunas which can be done away with it.
You're opposed to the ordinance route?
Yes.
Okay, Tehseen, why the ordinance?
Because that should be.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Only in exceptional circumstances.
Tehseen, why the ordinance? Why not a special session of parliament where it can be discussed and debated calmly?
First of all, even if it's an ordinance, it has to still later on, within 6 months, come within parliament.
Yeah.
So that's number one. It can be discussed and debated. Somebody said 4 years late. Not 4 years. We are 60 years behind time. We have food. We have hungry people, and the food must reach the hungry people. We cannot waste any more time. No matter what route is taken, the food needs to be distributed. We've discussed the food security bill. It's a fabulous bill. It just needs to go through people. Anything else can be discussed in parliament. Tomorrow you'll have something new coming up in parliament. Parliament will stall again if this legislation
is that the fear
does not.
that the BJP and the opposition party might just sabotage if a special session is really called again, and
Look,
do the same thing with
more
the
than the
budget
fear,
session?
more than the fear, you have people who are hungry and the food must reach them now, and that's the most important thing.
Okay, Mr. Mittal, very quickly I want to ask you this. The BJP seems to say, and this is the feeling we get, of course, while talking to people in your party also, that the Congress really only wants electoral gain when people have been starving for the past 4 years. Why this frenzy now from the Congress just before 2014? And I think I asked you this yesterday also. Isn't that what the BJP is really loath to? That the Congress might just get accolades just before the elections if they manage to pass this bill?
I don't think these are things which can have electoral dividends. So I don't think that could be a fair psychosis from which BJP would be suffering. As I explained to you, the methodology and its implementability is something which we have serious concerns about, and that's what needs to be addressed. That is why the route which has been suggested is to have a special session where we can debate, bring forward our point of view, and then draw consensus on this issue.
Okay. Okay, draw consensus on this issue, but right now, sir, as we know, the UPA Coordination Committee as well as the Cabinet might just be discussing it. Even as we speak, we haven't got the latest, but what we understand is they're mulling over an ordinance. Going from food security to the other big political story playing out, Mr. Pawan Kumar Bansal, of course. Now, he may have already paid with his job, but trouble has only begun for Pawan Bansal. Former railway minister was today grilled at the Central Bureau of Investigation in the railway bribery scandal. Shockingly, Bansal told the CBI that he has lost touch with his nephew, who is a key accused in the case. Tehseen Poonawalla, Pawan Bansal disowns his nephew. A little too late in the day, he should have disowned him when the scandal broke. What is the big deal of disowning him now?
But the investigation is on. Why do you have to have a running commentary on what the investigation is? Let the law take its own course. Pawan, this shows that the Congress has not caged the CBI. It's not a caged parrot. It is functioning autonomously. I don't see any other government where their ministers were questioned. I can go on about all ministers in governments. But let's not make this political. It shows that the CBI is an autonomous agency. It's doing a fabulous job, and let it continue to do it.
Okay, Mr. Mittal, now the CBI, according to reports, has grilled Mr. Pawan Bansal not as an accused but as a witness. What does that tell you about the CBI being caged or not?
Why should he not have been grilled as an accused? It is inconceivable that what was being sought to be done by his nephew could have been done without his consent, for the simple reason that a secretary level post to Government of India was being sought to be auctioned for 10 crore rupees, and for which advance was taken by no less a person than his own real nephew. I mean, we all know the system, we all know people, and a man as shrewd as the one inside the jail very well knew what influence did the nephew yield on Mr. Pawan Bansal, or whether it had his consent or not. So, to my mind, what is happening is an eyewash if he is sought to be grilled not as an accused but as a witness. Secondly, whether he is criminally liable or not, that is one side of the story. This episode has done incalculable harm to the entire polity of this country. You see, what has happened is, once he was accused and once the facts were known, the resignation should have been instant. It has taken so much of time, it has taken so much of public condemnation, it has taken so much of beating to the entire character of the polity that we have really lost face in the eyes of people.
Okay,
my humble request would be that the conduct of CBI in this must be absolutely above board, because right now it is not inspiring confidence.
And that's the hope, of course. Tehseen, the CBI says there is no direct evidence against Bansal right now. They cannot connect the phone calls that came. They say it's not proof enough, it's not evidence enough that Bansal knew what his nephew was doing. Now that's what they're saying right now. And Mr. Mittal is saying, of course, that the CBI conduct should be above board.
The CBI conduct is absolutely above board. The CBI is an autonomous agency doing its job. Number one, let me just remind Mr. Mittal ji about the Barak missile case, where the Honorable Supreme Court asked for Mr. George Fernandes to be questioned. Mr. George Fernandes was not questioned. Tehelka and Coffin Gate, he resigned, he comes back as defense minister. Advani ji is charge sheeted in the Babri case, he doesn't resign, he continues to be home minister. So please, and we all know how Tehelka, the BJP misused the CBI. The BJP, Mayawati ji said this on the floor of the House. Let us not make this a political issue. If anyone's misused the BJP, it is his party that has misused the CBI. It is the BJP that has misused the CBI. The Congress has never done it, and this is one more proof that the CBI is absolutely autonomous. It is questioning a former minister, and let's not, and about Mr. Bansal resigning. We know how George Fernandes came back without getting a clearance.
Mr. Mittal, the BJP keeps attacking Bansal for not resigning early, but this is what the CBI is saying, sir. This is what the CBI is saying. Okay, they're saying that the meeting between Mahesh Kumar and Pawan Bansal, they met thrice. But that is not enough evidence or enough proof that he asked for bribe money. This is the premier investigation agency in the country saying this. Let's not hang Mr. Bansal right away. They might have met, but he never asked for bribe money. Are you willing to accept that?
No way, no way. As I said, and there's something called 120B also, let's not forget. Whether he directly asked or he asked through his nephew, and he was mixed up with his nephew, we understand law and we understand the implication of 120B. There is clearly a case of 120B which should be applicable on Mr. Bansal. However, as I said, whatever the stand may be taken, does it inspire confidence or not? It's out in the open for everybody.
Okay.
Because if he's being questioned not as an accused but as a witness, then I'm sorry, this is not what the nation expects.
Okay, Tehseen, very quickly.
With regards to Mittalji, let me remind him that with his former Prime Minister Vajpayee, there were a lot of allegations on his son-in-law Ranjan Bhattacharya, misusing PMO, Tehelka, we remember Vinod Mehta in Outlook. So, I mean, you know, you have people who are in power, their relatives have them used it, misused the office. That is for the investigating agency to realize, but a person is innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely.
And the CBI is doing a good job. It is investigating. Let the investigation
Mr.
go on. Let's
Subramaniam,
have a running
question.
commentary.
One last question to Mr. Subramaniam before I let Mr. Subramaniam go. Really, sir, your political acumen is needed right now. I'm going to ask you a very simple question, and I want an objective answer, sir. Is this what we are seeing? This is heading towards an early poll. Bansal gets a clean chit. They go for early polls and they tell us, we told you so, Bansal is innocent. Food security bill gets passed.
Land acquisition.
I am a political observer, but I don't make any comments at all on politics or political developments. On this particular issue, I have seen the CBI for 30 years from fairly close quarters, and it is very interesting that after one incident, which is also not yet concluded, CBI gets a clean sheet and says it's a great agency. I know its pluses, I know its minuses, and it is for me very difficult to believe somebody is so close. He must have been the biggest ass in the world not to know what is happening, or a huge crook. But for me the big point is different. That secretary level posts in Government of India can be bought and sold. That's a tragic, that's a tremendous fall in governance, and we ought to be all hanged our heads in shame.
Okay, on that note, gentlemen, I must conclude this particular debate. We'll take a small break right now, come back with the other big story of the day. Bindu and Mayappan both out on bail. Are these fixers or alleged fixers also terrorists? Why? Because there's a D-link that has been established. Don't go anywhere, keep watching NewsX.